This year in Minnesota, we had a lot of weary birds. It was not a very good hunting year, especially not for people who like to call a lot. So sadly, I really had to back off the call this year, and the only thing that they would ever respond to was a feeding chuckle, quacks, drake whistle, or just a good old-fashioned greeting call once they start to turn away from your decoys. So what I want to talk to you guys about today is doing the greeting call on this Zink Nothing But Green single reed duck call. Essentially, the greeting call is what you start out when you start seeing birds once they're closer. I mean, you can always highball at them, but they don't do that. So I try to stick to what birds usually do. The way that I'm learning how to call and have learned how to call is to just go in and listen to them. And this is all that I hear all day. And you know, hardly ever do I hear a highball. All these birds are constantly moving on the water, they're bumping into each other, they're preening, and the only calls I'm hearing are the feeding chuckle, quack. The drakes are going crazy. I mean, those are the most vocal birds on the pond, are the mallard drakes. So to do the greeting call, it's just a longer note with a bunch of dut 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 at the end. So if you've learned how to do the quack and you can start to put together a cadence a little bit in changing your voice tone, you can start out by going with that higher end and then you break it down quicker. And it's not, you know, 5 notes, 6 notes, 7 note. I mean, I've heard them just go the long note and then 2 dropping down. I've heard them do the long note and 8 dropping down or 10 dropping down. And then another hen next to her starts going off at the same time. I mean, there's so many different variables to the greeting call. It's just what they're responding to that day. So, I mean, you got to try 2 notes, 3 notes, 10 notes, as long as you're going down the scale. So here's what it sounds like into the back of the call. I don't know, I have about like 8 different greeting calls in my arsenal. There's never just one that I use. It totally depends on how the birds are flying. That's the biggest thing in doing the greeting call, is reading how they're reacting to it. This year I was doing the same greeting call for 3 hunts and it was working really well, and then the 4th hunt I went out there, not a single one responded to it. They didn't flare, but they just never came in close enough to shooting range. Doing the greeting call will actually bring them in a lot easier. And the application to use the greeting call is when they're really weary or you're just starting to see a flock of ducks. I would strongly suggest just doing the greeting call and seeing how it works. You're seeing birds, they're coming, they're checking out your spread. As they're starting to go away a little bit, hit them with that greeting call, and I guarantee you will turn that first bird in the flock or have a couple off the side peel off and the rest of the flock checks out. As they're coming back in, just do a softer one or do a different version of that, like it's a different duck. Point your call a different way. There's so many different ways to do this, guys. The greeting call itself, remember, it's one long note and then you drop it down. So it's because that's what ducks do on the water when they're calling at other ducks. And if you can put that into your arsenal of duck calls, you should be killing a lot more greenheads. Check out the rest of our videos, guys. Comment, like, subscribe. Tell us how the way that you like to kill ducks, what brings them into your hole. Let us know. Thanks for watching.